Big story developing just a few hours ago. World Health Organization wrapping up its investigation, it says, in China on the origins of COVID and reaching a conclusion. The team of doctors and scientists now say the virus is unlikely to have leaked from a lab in the city of Wuhan, is more likely to have jumped from humans, or rather to humans from an animal. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, our guest now on this and many more topics. And sir, thank you for your time and good morning to you.
Morning.
Good morning, Bill. Good morning, Dana.
I want to get your reaction on this, and I want to take you back to May of last year, ABC interview. The question was asked of you, and the following answer went like this. Just watch.
I can tell you that there is a significant amount of evidence that this came from that laboratory in Wuhan.
Do you think they intentionally released that virus, or it was an accident in the lab?
I don't have anything to say about that. I think there's a lot to know, but I can say this. We've done our best to try and answer all of those questions.
How do we look at that now, sir? Your reaction on the story and the headline from the World Health Organization.
Well, Bill, I've seen that headline, and I must say the reason we left the World Health Organization was because we came to believe that it was corrupt. It had been politicized. It was bending a knee to General Secretary Xi Jinping in China. I hope that's not the case here with what they've announced today. I'll look forward to seeing their reports and analysis, but I don't believe it's the case that they got access that they needed. I know they didn't get access they needed in a timely fashion, and I hope that they got to see all the data, all the science, into the lab, talk to the doctors, interview them in private, in places where they could actually tell the truth about what took place, not under the supervision of a Communist Party person sitting in the back of the room, making sure that they towed the Communist Party line. So look forward to seeing their results. Right. I continue to know that there was significant evidence, Bill, that this may well have come from that laboratory.
So nothing has changed in your view that it came from the lab?
Not a thing.
Overall, with China, I wanted to get your take on this because President Biden is apparently going to make some remarks this week in regards to his approach to China. Listen to him here.
I'm not going to do it the way Trump did. We're going to focus on international rules of the road. We need not have a conflict, but there's going to be an extreme competition.
What do you make of that?
Well, we shouldn't worry about General Xi Jinping's feelings. We should worry about protecting the American people. That's the president's task. It was President Trump's mission. It was my mission as a Secretary of State. We have to confront the challenge that the Chinese Communist Party is presenting to America and to the world, whether that's the thousands and thousands of lives lost as a result of the Wuhan virus, whether it's the millions and millions of jobs that were destroyed because the Chinese Communist Party stole our stuff, took our information, and then dumped it back into the United States, or whether it's the People's Liberation Army, the Chinese military, that is working so hard to make sure that they can be a hegemonic power. This is the challenge for the next generation. We need to confront it head on. And if there are costs to the United States as a result of doing so, we need to be prepared to bear them and then continue to make sure that the next century remains one dominated by rule of law, sovereignty, and the things that the America First foreign policy put in place.
So over the last 3 weeks, we're told by the White House he's had a lot of conversations with foreign leaders. However, talking with the leader of China has not happened yet. Why would that be?
I don't know. I couldn't tell why he's chosen not to make that phone call just yet. What gets said matters. Diplomacy isn't eased by their actions, and every action they've taken, whether that's what they've done to the people of Hong Kong, the threats that they pose to Taiwan, whether it's what they're doing to their own people in Western China, the internment camps, the things that look very much like the 1930s. I determined that was genocide during the final days of my time as Secretary of State. Those are the things we should pay attention to, not what is said, not the propaganda that's put forward, but rather the real actions taken by the Chinese Communist Party.
There was another designation that you did as Secretary of State, and that was against the Houthis, which are the rebels in Yemen, designating them as a terrorist organization. The Biden administration reversing that, and the New York Post headline is Joe Biden's latest foreign policy joke. Immediately, of course, there's thoughts then about Iran, since they backed the Houthis. What do you make about that decision?
It's really odd. It's a really odd decision, Dana. These are facts. It's a fact that Iran is sponsoring the Houthis and that the Houthis are conducting terror. And U.S. law says if they're conducting terror, you should designate them as a terrorist organization, and then all of the things that follow from that should take place. Now, I find it puzzling that an administration would somehow declare that the Houthis weren't terrorists, that they weren't receiving weapons and support and intelligence from the Iranians and doing real harm to people of the United States, harm to Saudi Arabia, harm to the Gulf states and to Israel. These are things that aren't fantasy. We grounded our foreign policy in reality and in facts, and the reality and facts are de-designating the Houthis as a gift to the Iranians and will allow the Houthis to continue to foment terror around the world. It's too bad.
Now that you're out of the grind of the State Department, you're a little more free to talk, or maybe you would argue that you spoke your mind the entire time. What do you think's the biggest challenge there as you look at the globe?
You know, Bill, we were pretty straight shooters. It's my nature.
Right.
You and Dana know me some. I often say precisely what I think and precisely the way I think it needs to be said because I think the American people deserve that. I'll keep at that. The biggest challenges are twofold. One is the threat from the Chinese Communist Party. The second is that we have to get things right here at home. We have to grow our economy. We need to return to the national. If we get those two things right, get it straight at home and get it right with respect to the Chinese Communist Party, the sky is the limit for the next generation here in America.
That sounds a little bit like a campaign.
Bill.
A long ways from that, Bill. I'm just out making my way these days.
When you're ready. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Let me have a chance to win back my $200 that I lost on your Senate run. All right, thank you.
I'll give you a shot. I'll give you a shot at your $200, Dana. So long.